welcome to Behind the Build. I'm your host, Jonathan Jacobs. I have with me today a couple, recently highly, what would you say? We'd say they've won a couple of awards. They're a highly recognized name now, despite the fact that they don't really feel that way because they're super modest, and we've just spent the last hour and a half chatting and getting to know each other. So today I've got with me, I have Arancha González Bernardo, and I have Michael Fohring of Odami. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I got it, right? I got the name.
You got it perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah, nobody ever does. That's
So,
the first.
I'm starting off by this story to say that, to me, when I introduce people, names have a lot of importance. They are the lineage of our family. They are everything that the previous centuries have fought for. And so it means something to say that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
As challenging as it can be. I did start off and say, so recently the talented people I'm sitting with today were ranked as the top 25 architecture practices in Architizer. They're smiling. I'm thankful that you are. I told you I would diffuse this. And just literally within the last couple of weeks, they were named as one of the top 50 designers and architects in North America on A and Interiors magazine. So they got some clout. And are we diffused now?
We're diffused. Yeah, we're diffused.
So we met a couple weeks ago, and it's funny because when Michael and I met, we were at an event a couple weeks ago for Impossible Toronto, and it was a great event. And Gabriel introduced us.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is Michael," and I was like, "Oh, Michael, nice to meet you."
Oh, Jonathan, nice to meet you.
And I was like, "What's your practice?" He's like, "Odami," and I was like, "Oh, you're coming over to my house in a couple weeks."
After we had been talking for probably 5-10 minutes by that point already. Also, yeah, it was hilarious.
Did you know who he was?
I had no idea. No. I pulled the Michael. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And so it was. We ended up chatting and spending some time that night together, and then sure enough, we're standing next to everybody as this whole presentation happens. Oh, we're kind of right here.
Yeah. Trying to fight back the laughter as they were starting to talk.
Right. So I'll start things off by saying, honestly, thanks for joining. I know that these things are sometimes a little bit daunting, but I think we're gonna have a lot of fun doing this. And for those of you that are listening, obviously, if you've ever listened to this thing before, it's really natural. It's really fun. And you get to learn about people's lives, how they've amassed the knowledge they have, and where they've grown up, where they've grown as professionals, how they've grown as professionals. Before we get into what Arancha and Michael were like as kids, it makes me think about my own kids at home and this little weekend ritual we have around breakfast. Every now and again, the kids will ask me for something we call name eggs. I started doing this years ago, long before a renovation on a pretty basic old stove. I try to make this really thin omelet-style egg so I could cut their names out of it, but the heat was never really totally even, and it ended up with little burn marks. And if you've got picky eaters, and that could be children, you know that one dark spot on the egg and suddenly it's inedible. So after we renovated the kitchen, we went to Kaplan's and ended up with this beautiful Gen Air induction cooktop, just one of the many brands they carry. And it completely changed the way I cook those name eggs. The heat is perfectly even across the pan. So I can get this almost paper thin layer of egg, slide it onto a small cutting board, and then carefully cut out each of the kids' names. The fun now is whether they can actually finish eating their names before they try stealing each other's. And for us, that's become a small but really meaningful part of our weekend. It's one of those little moments that only works because the equipment actually does what it's supposed to do. Kaplan's has been great for that. Whether it's Gen Air, Wolf, Miele, Fisher & Paykel, Sub-Zero, for getting and keeping eggs nice and cold in the fridge, or any of the other high-end brands they carry, they really know how to match people with the right appliances for how they actually live. So if name eggs sounds like something you might want to try with your own family, or you're just thinking about upgrading your appliances, you're going to need new appliances for your after your renovation or after your new home is built, feel free to email me and I'll happily put you in touch with the fantastic team at Kaplan's. All right, so let's get back to it. Arancha, I want to start with you in your youth. What are the earliest memories you have of yourself as a kid? And so I'll start off with you, Arancha, and ask you, if I can, about your youth, like the earliest memories you have of yourself. What kind of person were you? Were you a curious person? Were you a creative person? Were you interested in math? Like, what got you excited when you were a kid?
Oh, that's a very well-rounded question.
I know.
I think I was a very happy, outgoing kid, and I was always very I always loved to paint. My grandparents had like fabric stores and clothing stores. So I remember being I'm from Asturias in the northwest region of Spain.
Okay.
So I grew up by the water in like a small town called Avilés, and basically it was an industrial town back then, and my family had like these shops, and my earliest childhood memories playing as a kid were like playing in the background of the store with fabrics and leftover things that my grandmother had, and trying to make dresses and trying to do all those things.
Like, were you hand sewing or were you using machine?
No, I was tiny. No, I was hand sewing. Okay, I think it would have been a bad ending. And then I went to the hospital.
I don't know. How old were you at the time?
No, I think that it was like very young. Like I think 5, 6, 7.
Oh, really?
I was always so I would like play there, and it was a cute place to grow up. Like a very small town, like 80,000 people more or less. So and my family's been there like since forever. So it's like generations and generations. So everybody knows everybody. So kind of like a very wholesome childhood, I think.
What? Sorry, you said was the size of the town? How many people do you think the population would have been?
The population is like it used to be more, but now a lot of people unfortunately are leaving because there's no opportunities there. But it was like around 80,000, something like that, and like people that have been there living their entire life. So it's kind of like even if it's 80,000, everybody knows everybody. So it was like very wholesome childhood, I think. Yeah, very happy.
and were your grandparents and parents, were they interested in wanting to promote that creativity in you, or were they the ones that were saying, "Careful with that needle"?
Oh, my mother's that one. My mother sees the danger. There's like somebody waiting to kill you in every corner, and there's dangers. That was my mother. You just defined my mother.
Okay.
But I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and I think that they were very easygoing. So yeah, it was like a mix of both. I think my mother compensated for everybody else.
And did you have siblings?
I have one sister, an older sister. Yeah, so yeah, it's good because even if I ended up on this side of the pond, she's in San Francisco, so it feels a bit like we're a bit closer. But yeah, I have a sister.
And did you grow up studying any of the arts when you were in school, or what did that look like for you?
The education system in Spain is very different to that in Canada. So
educate me.
Yeah, no, it's basically you, based on what you think you would like to do, you choose, but only in high school you start to choose whether you are more focused on science or you're more focused on like things related to law, history, etc. So for me it was like I went science, but not because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was more like I felt like it would open more doors whenever I had to make a decision. I'm a very indecisive person, so architecture was not the natural fit for me. Like I had it in my mind, but I actually applied to med school, I applied to telecommunications engineer, and I applied to law school. So those were the 4 places. I got in the 4 places. So then it was a bit like, what do I do?
So what did hold on a second. What?
Yeah,
You applied to medical school?
Med school, law school.
Law school.
Yeah, because in my family, there's like a decent amount of doctors, and my aunt was a lawyer. So I saw it and I was like, oh, that's great. So I applied there, and then my sister was studying telecommunications engineering. Yeah. So I also went there. And
this was, do you feel like this was at the time, because you're established now, right? We can be honest.
Yeah.
Do you feel like then it was like an attempt to satisfy the family, or do you feel like you were pursuing what you thought you would like?
I just didn't know what I wanted.
Okay,
so I was just, I just applied to different places, and I was like, I'll be out of some and I'll go in some. So it'll make the decision for me. It didn't, because I got in the 4 of them. So then I had to decide, and like, everybody was like, you're so creative, maybe law is not for you. Then I don't do very well with blood. So then it was like, maybe med school is also not good for me. So I think it was a bit by like just moving away from things. I ended up like choosing architectures.
And so you chose architecture for university.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you studied it as an undergrad.
So it's a bit different.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
We don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
So this idea of undergrad, it didn't exist in Spain at the time. Now it's starting to be done. So that is like similar throughout Europe.
Okay.
But back then it's like you go to architecture school or you don't. There was not like a 3 first years and then you do a master's. It's like you either become an architect or you're nothing. So if you go to architecture school, 6 years. So if you drop on the 4th year, you have
6
nothing.
years.
Yeah. So if you drop on the 4th year, you have nothing. So it's kind of like, that's the way it used to work. By the time I got into school, it was the same law. Some people would drop law on the 4th year and it's like, you don't have anything. You don't have an undergraduate. You either become a lawyer or you
can't
don't.
transfer any of those credits towards something else.
Yeah. You
could.
You can transfer a few credits if you change universities. But all this to say, there was not this threshold of like, if you study these 3 years, then you
Yes.
have an undergraduate. It's like either architecture or nothing. So here, for example, it was always something that I like, how do I put my title? Because I'm an architect in Spain, but here, so I always put a bachelor in architect and a master in architect because it's a bit like, it's hard to really explain it
And
because
to
it's not
define
the
it.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit different.
Yeah, I don't know that we have it right here, but whatever. Okay, so that's what you did, and you took a 6 year. It was a 6 year.
It was 5 years plus the thesis, which took a year. So
Okay.
yeah.
Is the thesis year? Are you doing a co-op as a part of that or not?
No.
No.
In Spain there's no co-ops. You
Okay.
end and then you can stamp. And
Were you able to take advantage of summers? Like, what did you do during the summertime and while you were in school? Were you...
like enjoy the summers.
Okay.
That's what. It's also a very North American thing to take jobs in the summer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
some.
we just like to work ourselves to death.
Yeah, like I guess that it's a bit
Pretty
different.
much. Sounds right. It's
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, because it was
Bunch of
like
idiots.
Yeah.
like I mean the university year also went from like September to June. So then you really only had 2 months there, and if you failed any exams or if you had to catch up, you would have
do
exams
some-
in September.
Right.
So I think life was good until university. Like summers were amazing, and then in university you would have those 2 months and you would be studying. So it was kind of like nobody really worked. Like I don't know anybody that worked during university. I'm sure that there's some people that do it, but it's not like something that it's common to do
Right.
co-ops or to work. It wasn't by the time I was studying.
Very quick anecdotal story, and Michael, I'll go to you in a sec. But like the idea of working to death, like when I was before I started working at Walden, and we had solidified the working arrangement, I had been out. I had been away from another job, and I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna take an extra like 3 weeks before I start. And she was like, "What are you talking about?" Sorry, Wendy, I'm telling the story. And she was like, "What do you mean? Like we have bills to pay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but like I have been working a lot my whole life. I worked in the summers. I had 4 jobs while I was in university.
Oh, wow.
I was always working. And now that I knew that I was gonna have my next position, I was like, I'm gonna get like 2 weeks of vacation time.
Yeah,
I want to enjoy another 3 weeks."
fair enough.
And I hold on to those 3 weeks now mentally all the time
Yeah.
because now I'm back to working all the time.
It's very different. It's like I feel like it's one of the biggest, like as a newcomer to Canada.
Yeah.
That was something like when I got my first job, Michael's laughing because so like it's a very different mentality. And when I got my first job, I went to the office and they gave me the contract and I read, and it was like 2 weeks of holidays a year. And they left me alone to read the contract and everything. And I called Michael and I remember I was like, "Is that legal?"
Were you crying?
I wasn't crying, but I was a bit like, am I getting scammed? Like maybe they're just seeing this opportunity. Like, I don't know. And I was like, is it legal? And he laughed on the phone. It was like, Arancha, that's the standard. And for me, I was a bit like, okay, if it's how it is here, I'll take it. But like, I actually was scared that I was getting like summoned
Taken
into
advantage of.
some.
Yeah. Welcome to North America.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they called you by your last name. They said just Gonzalez.
A number.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll come back to that in a sec.
Yeah.
So Michael, you've been quiet. I've
Yeah.
done Arancha. It's your turn. So why don't you tell us about like your history and what it was like? Where did you grow up?
I grew up mostly in Ayr, Ontario.
I thought you were being facetious for a moment.
No,
Okay, and then you
no,
threw the Ontario.
Ayr. Yeah, it's a tiny little town.
Where? I don't even know it.
You know where Paris is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just north of Paris. It's like
Okay.
just south of the 401, kind of at like Kitchener Waterloo area, like
Okay.
heading west, like an hour and a half west of Toronto.
Okay.
Tiny little town of like 3,000 people.
Okay.
Yeah, our school was like an assemblage of portables. Like we didn't even have like a proper building as a school. So yeah, it was a very, very small little town, and like raised sort of in that whole region. Like we bounced around a little bit. I was born in Kitchener, grew up mostly in Ayr, and then Cambridge, Waterloo, and Guelph. So sort of checked off a whole bunch of suburbs.
And what for you? What was child life like? And your enjoy? What did you enjoy?
Sports, pretty much.
What did you play?
Yeah, mostly. Hockey. I played competitive hockey pretty much up until I was 18.
Okay.
And then also dabbled a little bit in like soccer and volleyball, and played rugby for a few years in high school,
Okay.
which I really loved. Weightlifting, kind of a bit of everything. It was always like a huge part of my life was sports and
Physical
just,
activity.
yeah,
Moving.
Yeah.
Get in the sweat.
yeah,
Right.
that, and also like art. I mean, I like since I was super young, like drawing, painting constantly.
Okay. And were you drawing? Were you using like? Did you have all different kinds of pencil kits? Or
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Prismacolors and
Yeah.
the Crayola sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did you like to work on like the fine skills of like blending colors together, or was it more?
I don't know. I never really like thought about it so
Okay.
much. I just kind of like had fun. I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
You know, when I was a kid, drawing like cars because my dad was like a car nut, like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You know, like that's sports stuff.
Yeah.
And then I mean, mostly it was like, you know, once I was a little bit older, it was more like just a standard art school, or not art school, but like the art class in high school, just kind of like going with it. But I always loved it.
Okay.
Didn't really think a ton about it. I was never in like art classes or like art school or
no,
anything
yeah,
like that.
okay.
There was no like real like formal classes or anything like that. It was just something that I loved and like
Did
parents
in your free time.
encouraged. Yeah.
Yeah, but was it the outlet as a part of like the all the other physical stuff? Like it was like the ability to come home and like just kind of zone in on something that was completely different from all of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I never really like thought about it,
Yeah.
but yeah, probably.
And here I am psychoanalysis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
I apologize. Let's get into the history of what all this meant.
No, that's probably kind of what it was. Yeah,
Right,
it's like
okay.
a difference of like, you know, moving so much, and then something that was like a little bit more static and concentrated, and but all very intuitive. You know, I think that's like one of the ways that I think about it a lot, is all very intuitive stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying it because I can liken myself to that. I also grew up playing sports and stuff, and I would doodle all the time, but like extravagant scenes of things in like all of my books. My mom would be like, "Are you paying attention to anything in class?" I'm like, I don't know. We're talking about war, and I'm drawing a war. And so when you as you progress through stages of life, when you were in high school, were you aware of what a life would look like to go into architecture, or was it not even on the spectrum of possibilities?
I wasn't aware of what it meant at all.
Yeah.
You know, I had no one in my family is an architect. My dad's a truck driver. Mom's an accountant. Like, didn't know anyone that was an architect at all.
Hardworking, yeah.
Yeah.
Two hardworking people. Your dad, I assume, was away.
A lot, yeah. I mean, especially he ended up eventually working, like doing long haul, so gone to California and back.
Wow.
So yeah, he would be gone like 10 days out of a week at a time, and come back for like 2 nights, gone for a day, and come back. So
was that Patrick Swayze movie, Black Dog? Was that one? Do you remember that movie?
No.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah.
Oh, if you're listening to this and you've seen Black Dog, let me know. It's a Patrick Swayze movie where like he was a long haul trucker, and there was like shipments and stuff, and I think there was probably some bad stuff that happened associated with it. Like, if you were a long haul trucker and you were going too long at the haul, you would see the Black Dog coming at you, and it was like it was like death.
Okay.
Like you never want to see the Black Dog.
Okay.
Yeah, it was probably a C-rated movie. Like, it was not even a B.
Not even
it
a
was
B list.
it was a C. Anyhow, I digress yet again.
No, it's a very grueling
It's a grueling
profession. I went with him a couple times in the truck, and actually, like in, the opposite of Arancha, like my summers, even very early high school, I was like 14, I was like working with his employer, like unloading trucks like all summer.
Yeah.
Starting at
physical
like
work.
yeah, and like starting at like 4 o'clock in the morning, working like a 10-hour day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my like
Well,
high school
well,
summer.
this
Sorry.
is not a visual medium, so let me explain what I'm seeing. Michael's describing this, and Arancha's sitting across from him, shaking her head like, this is wrong. This is child labor.
Yeah.
In Spain, it would.
Yeah.
In most European countries, I think it's like a big difference. Yeah.
Huge.
It is
even
huge.
Central and South America is different.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I went to Costa Rica years ago, like before Costa Rica had like blown up and become a hot tourist spot. And like we went to go to the grocery store in the middle of the day, and they're like, "Sorry, we're closed." I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "It's siesta time." Like,
Wow.
what are you talking about, siesta? I'm here to buy. Like, I want to do an exchange of goods and
Yeah.
services right now.
Can I
Sorry,
support
it's
your
a
business?
siesta. I'm like, all right, I'll come back in an hour. I got no choice.
I love that. Though.
Priorities.
Yeah.
So then you knew when siesta o'clock was.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so you were working in that trucking. I mean, that I could not imagine what that would be like, because that's an intense industry.
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
Really intense industry.
Yeah. Like long, crazy hours.
Yeah.
Not sleeping a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you went to architecture afterwards,
Maybe, yeah,
to keep
it
up
was
with the
like-
pace.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
ready. He was
exactly.
ready for it.
I was like,
Yeah.
my dad trained me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, where did you? At what stage of this life that you lead did you follow into or become aware of what architecture was? Did you study it in undergrad, or how did that work?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know really like anything about the day to day of the profession or anything like that, but I strangely still knew that that's what I wanted to do. It was
Okay.
like always sort of, other than like playing in the NHL, I guess that was sort of my dream from when I was, like an early teenager, probably. I always like really loved, I loved art and drawing. I also like really, really loved math. And so it always seemed like a sort of thing that, married these two realms. There's also very physical, that's also,
Right.
also something that like I think about often is like the sheer like physicality of growing up, like playing sports and doing like labor jobs. And like I worked on site a lot in the summer during undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think I was always driven towards something that was inherently about like making something very physical, something that married like the rationality and like expressivity, I guess, of the sort of two sides. So it's always something that I wanted to do. I didn't know what the hell I was getting into. Maybe if I knew more, I would have thought twice. But yeah, I always wanted to do it. It was a bit of a like longer road to get there. I like applied out of high school, had like really good grades, and thought I would get in. I didn't get in anywhere.
Okay.
Didn't get in at Waterloo. Didn't get in at Carleton. And then
what did they lay claim to of the reason not getting in? Was it about portfolio, or was it about grades, or you don't even know?
I don't know about Carleton. I think at Waterloo it was like my interview.
Okay.
I was just like I was a dumb jock, at that time. So like
You knew what you knew. I mean, you went in as you knew yourself to be, right? Like
yeah. So I mean that's fine. I like went back to high school for another year, picked up a bunch of like extra science stuff, and started mechanical engineering at Waterloo. Dropped out after a week, and worked in a deli for a year.
Why
And
are
like
you laughing at this?
I don't know. I mean, it's just
It was
like
this is what work is about. Like
Yeah.
if you've got you hear stories of people all the time, of really successful people that have been met with, you can call it failure, but I don't think that's what it is. I think you met with the first barrier, a roadblock to getting to where you want to go. And there are a lot of people that back down from that challenge immediately and divert.
Yeah, I mean, I did at first, right? Like I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm just like not good enough to be an architect, whatever. I don't have the skills, I don't have the knowledge, whatever. So I like leaned into the whole like science math side of thing. And
Right.
I lived in Waterloo at the time, and Waterloo's a great engineering school. So I was like, hey, I mean, this could be great.
Yeah.
And like I knew right away, like this is not. I really want to do something creative, and I think that it took that actually. I think for me, I really still think about that kind of fondly in a weird way, and very formative. Like it really solidified for me, like this is really what I want to do, and I need to do it, and I need to find a way of getting there. So I basically, when I wasn't at the deli, I was painting and drawing and trying to like build up a portfolio, and got in the next time.
Into Waterloo.
Nope, I didn't get into Waterloo again.
Where?
Second time I didn't get in. I got into McGill and like a bunch of other schools.
Okay.
Yeah, still not Waterloo.
Damn Waterloo.
Yeah. It was funny though. I ended up
Just joking, Waterloo.
He teaches at Waterloo.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we have a good relationship with Waterloo.
Oh, it's a great school.
Great school.
Yeah. And I ended up teaching there. So, which is funny.
I mean, that's pretty circular.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let me come as a student.
Yeah.
But let me educate the next round of students.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Didn't you teach with the professor that
I
rejected
was
your application?
I was actually hired by the person that interviewed me twice.
What actually I find to be the best part of this story is that what you wanted to do was pay them for the education.
Yeah.
And now instead, they're paying you.
Yeah, exactly. Take that.
This is perfect. Before we get into the story of Odami's first project, which is upcoming in just a few minutes, I want to touch on something that most people don't realize until they're deep into a build or renovation, and that is how much the doors and windows actually define the experience of a space. Whether it's a standalone restaurant with a street presence or a home renovation or a full new build, the glazing ends up doing a lot of the emotional heavy lifting. It's what pulls in natural light, frames the outside world, sets the mood at different times of day, and creates that connection between what's happening inside and what people see from the outside. It's one of the reasons why we work with the doors. They're able to deliver pretty much any type of system you can imagine. PVC, fiberglass, vinyl, aluminum wood clad, all wood, steel, even full curtain walls and curved glass when the project calls for something bold. And the design flexibility is there too, with custom colors, tailored profiles, clean sight lines, all the things that make a window and door feel like a part of the architecture instead of something you just ordered out of a catalog. So when you hear the restaurant story later in the episode, pay attention to how much the glazing shapes the atmosphere, because the openings really do shape the entire feeling of a space. If you're working on something where the windows and doors matter, which is basically every project, you can email me and I'll connect you with the team at the doors. They've been a fantastic partner. All right, let's get back into the conversation with Michael and Arancha. Okay, so you finished school. I'm turning back to Arancha now.
Yeah.
And so you finished school, and where did you start work in Spain? Did you start work elsewhere? What did that look like for you?
I was lost. I was as lost as you can be, because at the time I finished school, it was right after the crisis in Spain. So
Okay.
Spain's economy was heavily
What
based.
year was this?
I finished school in 2012.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like at that time, before the crisis in Spain, like our economy, there was a lot of construction.
Yes.
So you could get a job and life
Right.
was easy. And at the time I studied out of province. So I loved the city where I studied. I had my friends there. It was like, okay, I'm going to finish school. I'm going to start working and live life. And not at all. Like I finished school and there were no jobs. Like you could find a job in Madrid or in Barcelona, but like very like the pay was really bad, because there was just, the economy was just not there. So I started applying like abroad. Like I tried to stay like in Spain. I really love my life there, but like
Right.
there was no jobs. So I started applying abroad, and I got my first job offer as an architect. I got it from Austria, Graz, like the second largest city in Austria. And it was very funny. I sent the email, and like 15 minutes later, the one that became my boss was like, really like your portfolio, blah, blah, blah. I would like to hire you. And I just did a very quick interview with them. And basically I moved to Austria like 2 months later to start working there.
I want to actually touch on something before you get to the move.
Yeah.
And what I really like about this dynamic of finding people on their career path at this stage specifically is you met with, again, I kind of referenced it before, is you met with a lot of barriers, and there's could be sadness, right? Like
Yeah.
you apply and you're applying and you've gone to school and you have this expectation and these hopes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and you're met with the realities of the workforce.
Yeah, big time. And it was like no job offered to work for free to gain experience, which is something I've always opposed.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it even back there.
Yeah.
Or to just try to find, and I have friends that decided they really wanted to stay in Spain. They are architects and they're working in something else. They're working in hotels. They're working in, that was the reality. So
Right.
for me, I didn't want to leave Spain, but that was not an option I was willing to accept. I wanted to work as an architect.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get paid. So like the only option was to just go abroad.
And that was like a drastic shift too from like while you were going up through school too, because while you were going up through school, like you've always said that, I mean, people when they were presenting their thesis, they were getting job offers.
Oh
by
yeah,
people
yeah.
supporting them and stuff. And
That's how
it
it
was the
used to
total
be.
opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
It's exactly like you would go and yeah, you would finish and you would be offered like a very good salary and you would have a job, and that's how it used to be until the crisis hit. And unfortunately, I was post-crisis, so for me there was no Christmas. It was like that you're done. Like you have to look somewhere else. So
It's time to go find a place where you can go work for 52
Yeah.
weeks a year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I look, I say all of this because if you listen to this and you're in school, or if you're listening to this and you're like a junior architect at a practice and you're not really feeling the love right now, you got to know that you've got to grind through some of that. I say that with like the utmost respect for what you're kind of going through, because if you know what you want, you got to go for it. And
Exactly.
you can't allow barriers to be a cause for your demise. You have to be able to break through them. So you take this job in Austria.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny that what you just said, because it was a bit like I entered an architecture school and I wasn't even sure that I wanted to be an architect. It was
Yeah.
a bit like, and then when I finished, it was like, I want to do this.
Right.
And basically like that indecision could have been helpful at the end of my career to be like, oh yeah, I'll do at the end of my degree to be like, I'll take on anything else. But by the time I finished, it was like, this was a huge sacrifice. I like this. I want to do this. And yeah, and I took that job in Austria. Yeah.
So like it's a complete shift, right? It's a
Absolutely.
completely different culture, different country, like everything's different.
It was my first cultural shock
Right.
ever.
Like you went from a town, from a city of, it's not a town. I mean,
It is a
it's
town. It is a town.
80,000 well, I mean, I was comparing yours to Michael's, which
Yeah.
was 3,000. So I think there's a difference.
Michael's a tiny town. Mine's a
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, fair enough. They're both towns. I should look up the definition of town. And so yours like more like a community,
Yeah. A spec.
right?
Yeah.
And I guess I'm saying this because when you're in environments like where you grew up, Michael, and where you grew up, Arancha, and you have these smaller connected communities, to leave that behind to go pursue your career is really hard.
For me, it was very hard. It was a tough year. I still remember it now as one of the best years of my life, the year that I was in Austria. But moving there, it was really tough, exactly for what you said. I just grew up in this environment where I always felt at ease. Everybody.
How did you find? Sorry, I just cut you off.
No.
Sorry, finish.
How do you find what? No.
How did you find your first apartment? Like, do you remember when you walked into that apartment for the first time?
Yeah.
What was that?
So it was like I was very lucky. I'm a bit like obsessive compulsive, so for me having a nice apartment was very important because I like to stay home. So like I obsess with things very easily. So I was looking, and
I like the honesty.
it is true. Michael knows. For good and for bad. Sometimes it's great, sometimes not
I'm
great.
the same way.
But it was like at that time I figured out this like real estate website on Austria, and I found like an apartment. It was fairly easy, and I got very lucky because it was a beautiful apartment near Kun's house, which is like right in the center of Graz. And arriving there wasn't too bad because my mom came with me. That's kind of like the level of like, my sister was working at the time in Madrid. So I moved on my birthday. So basically because I was starting to work like shortly after.
Wow.
So my mom and my sister met us there, and I moved I spent the weekend then with them. But then the first day of work,
celebrating like your independence, but at the same time celebrating your birthday.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, totally.
Wow.
So it wasn't too bad to get there because it was a nice apartment, and I felt like sheltered. But like then when my mom and my sister left, I was like, wow, I'm in a city where I speak English. My English was like not great. It wasn't bad. It was okay. But it was like, I'm in a city where I don't speak German. I don't know anybody. So when mother and my sister left, I did feel like this, like, wow, I'm here by myself. I'm alone. So I need to make this work.
Did you find any places locally that had some form of comfort food? Something that like were to remind you of home? Or was this like now, like, I got to go find what this is going to look like?
Camilo's.
There was Italian places, so it's in a way it was like Graz is fairly close to the border of Italy, but it wasn't really like Spanish food.
Like comforting.
No.
Pizza's always comforting.
Pizza is always comforting. Yeah, that's true.
That's not good pizza is always
Good,
comforting.
yeah.
Fast pizza is not always. I mean, it's actually funny because fast pizza is good pizza.
Yeah, many times.
When it goes in the right oven,
That's
it's
true.
only like 60 seconds.
Yep.
Right?
But yeah, like there wasn't really a lot, and I think that it was like a cultural shock because there were lots of things that I had traveled as a kid, like I've gone abroad, but like it's not the same as living there.
Right.
And then you realize of things that I took for granted. Like in Spain, we have dinner at 9:30, 10, 11 p.m. and it's normal. And then I was in Austria and it was like people were having dinner at 6 and I was like, what is happening?
What time are you guys going to bed?
It was-
Following this like circadian rhythm thing, like what's going on here?
yeah, so it was lots of things to learn about the people, about the place, and but it was great because you realize that like that what you assume is normal, it's not always the norm.
And was the practice that you went to go work at, was it what you had expected that it would be, or did it kind of blow your mind up to what the possibilities were? Like, how was that?
I think it was similar to what expected. The expectations were fine. Like it was just for me. I think it was a bit hard. Like two of our best friends actually, we met them working there, and still to this date, and it's been like 10 years, 11 years. We're still in touch with them. I still talk to them every week. So it's but as a Spaniard to be dealing with Austrian people.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was like the practice from a practice standpoint. It was okay. It was just to learn again. Like when you go to a place, you really need to adapt yourself. So it was a bit learning how things are done in Austria, which is different to how they're done in Spain.
Fair.
Yeah.
And yourself, Michael? What was it like when you graduated school? Where did you end up landing your first gig, or was it easy?
Yeah, it was easy enough. I worked the very first summer like on campus.
Okay.
And then, while I looked for a job, and I knew that I wanted to get out of Canada, I'd done an exchange in my second year of architecture school in Venice.
And this was at McGill.
At McGill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
And I knew that I wanted to get more like international experience and get out of Canada for a little bit. So I applied kind of all over Europe, and the job at the same office that Arancha was at was.
Oh, this is where you met?
This is where we met.
Yes,
Yeah, we met.
Yeah, I didn't know this. This was natural. This was a natural progression for all of us.
Yeah. So yeah, that office was the first one that sent me an offer, and I took it right away. I like looked up the city, and like it looked super cool.
I think our boss just had offers prepared because we both got it like
Same
super
thing.
fast.
Yeah,
It was just like
And he's like a very compulsive hirer, I guess, because like you'd send him an email and it was within like 30 minutes that he's like, "You're hired. Get over here," basically.
I mean, to me, it sounds like a person who kind of knows what he wants.
yeah,
I
that's
could be wrong, but like,
no, that defines him very much.
right?
Yeah.
He's reading through it. He sees the credentials. He sees your portfolio, and he says, "This makes sense to me. If you want to risk moving here, I'll give you the job."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
Sounds like you, Bruce. Bruce is one of the owners of Walden.
Okay.
Reads it. It's like, yep. All right, I'm in.
There we
Let's do it.
Nice.
And well, because if you know, what's the point of wasting the time?
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Elongating the process.
Yeah.
So when you're both working at this studio, this is perfect now because now we can have both of you
Yeah.
going at the same time. So when you're working at the studio, what types of work were you working? Were they interiors? Was it commercial? Was it residential? Was it multi-res? Was it civic? Was it public? What were you working on?
Micah was doing mostly competitions.
Okay.
I did a bit of multi-residential, and then like I worked for a bit on like it was like a music theater kind
Oh,
of thing.
cool.
Yeah, like I worked on
Indoor
that.
or outdoor?
Yeah, indoor.
Indoor
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did mostly like multi-residential and that one.
And what type of multi-res?
It was like mid-density, kind of like
Okay.
mid-height, residential units, and basically the lower ground would be commercial.
Okay.
It was very standard in Graz,
Yeah.
in Austria. So I did work on that, and then a lot of graphic design for our boss, who was doing. They were trying to get jobs in Qatar, so there was a lot of like portfolio making and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
got stuck with
Like
that too.
rendering?
No, just
No?
portfolio,
Okay.
like creating the
Okay.
portfolio for him. I got stuck there a bit longer than I wish I would.
Yeah.
But at least it was better because I was doing my hours and life was easy. Michael was in the design competition team,
Oh yeah.
and
Which
that was
would
a
have
lot
been
worse.
highly intensive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like
yeah.
like couple weeks of crazy hours, and then the night of the deadline, you're like kind of ready to put it in cruise control for the last night, and then like blow the whole project up at 9 o'clock at night and start from scratch and deliver the next day.
Sounds terrible.
That kind of like it was very stereotypical. Yeah, the sort of competition team.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people were on the competition team?
It was like 3 to 4,
Okay.
depended on the project.
And with yours, how many people?
It was
were on?
bigger. It was a bigger team. Like, I don't know, at the time there was maybe 20 people working there.
So how?
Oh, at the office?
At the office, it was like 20.
Oh, it was 20,
so
20 people
20 to-
total at the office.
Yeah, 20, 25.
20,
Okay.
25, something like that.
It's
So
a-
for
it's a
me, it
good
was
sized
like,
office.
it was
Yeah.
always a smaller group. So competition was 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Like where I was working, it was like for one project, I remember that it was just 2 of us, the project manager and myself. And then another one, it was 5 people that were working on this theater because it was bigger. It was, so yeah, it ranged, but it was always like not too large.
It was
And-
really comfortable because like they had some pretty. I mean, they had like larger projects
Yeah.
going on, but it was small enough that like you kind of knew everybody in the
Yeah.
office, which was really nice.
Yeah, it was
like
very
a really
nice.
nice, intimate kind of atmosphere.
And did they have this opportunity for like sharing ideas on different projects where you'd kind of present internally to each other and like what you were working on, or was it more of a kind of a bit of a silo and you had to kind of go ask for it if you ever wanted to?
I found like within your team, definitely.
Yeah.
And like we would present to the principal often enough,
Yeah.
but there wasn't really like the moments where you present to like the whole office kind of
Okay.
thing. It was actually very like split in terms of how the office was distributed, even like physically.
Mhm.
There was sort of like one half of the office physically and the other half, and like one half was like production on like a lot of the projects that were
Right.
about to go through to construction, and then the other side was like more the speculative side of the office, the
Okay.
business
Competitions,
development
portfolio.
and,
Yeah.
competitions.
So what led you back to Toronto?
Um,
Was there an in between?
yeah,
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was. So we started dating. We worked together, and I think like we were the only non-German speakers in the office. So
Okay.
I think that brought us
That
together.
kind of helps. We'll unify.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was like we started dating, and then eventually Michael's visa ran out. So and he had to finish because Michael's like a bit younger than I am, so
Yeah.
he hadn't finished school yet.
Yeah, that was after my undergrad. So I was always planning on. It was always going to be just like one gap year for me, and then I was going to go back and do my master's.
Okay.
Yeah. So Michael had to move back, and it was a bit like, what do I do? Like, do I stay here? Do I go? So I got a work visa, and I moved to Montreal to be with Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bit of a like roundabout. I
Yeah.
like moved back to Toronto first, dropped out for a second time because apparently that's like a habit for me.
That's okay.
Um,
Yeah, it's a reset.
Worked construction for a year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because my visa took a year to.
Yeah.
It took me a year to
yeah,
get it.
and then
yeah.
Arancha was in Spain in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then we met in Montreal. I
Okay.
went back to McGill.
Back to McGill. Okay. And then ultimately landed
Yeah.
back in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in Montreal for almost 2 years, and then Michael's family, they're not in Toronto, but they're in Ontario, and we're both Anglophones, so we felt like maybe it was probably better to be in Toronto,
Come
and
back,
we
yeah,
moved here.
And so, how many years had you worked at other practice before starting your own?
For me, it was like 13, 14 months. And then I left, started teaching an option studio at Waterloo, and sort of at the same time was approached by a friend of someone who started interning at the office in Austria, like right as we were leaving, about a restaurant downtown. And we like met them on site, and seemed like a crazy opportunity. It's like a 2-story restaurant right downtown Toronto. And we're like, this sounds amazing. Like we should totally do this. Like we weren't even like thinking about starting an office at that time
No.
at all. It was
No.
like we never talked about it. It wasn't even like on the radar.
I mean, I
Like-
think at least I always wanted to have my own thing. I didn't find working for other people fulfilling. It was fulfilling for a little bit, and then the passion died very fast. So I always kind of knew that I wanted to do my own thing.
You wanted to be the one presenting the contract,
Yeah.
not reading the contract.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was, I think that we were kind of like this one day. We had that mentality of one day, maybe
Yeah.
we'll do it. And then this opportunity came, and it was like, okay, like, looks great. It could be amazing. And neither of us was particularly passionate about the jobs that we had at the moment. So it was like, okay, let's just take a leap of faith and really try to do something for ourselves. Yeah.
So you take the project on. At this
Yes.
point, you obviously you haven't established your business,
No, not at all.
right? So you kind of do it like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're working in the twilight hours of the night and working on this project. And
Arancha was especially because you were still working.
I was still working
Yeah.
at the firm I was before we started.
yeah,
So Michael took on the project kind of like almost full time. And then I was like weekends and like after office hours when I had the time, like, and at some point it was like, this is not enough. So it was a bit like, do I quit? And neither of us, again, like we don't come from like families, like we also had to pay bills. So at some point it was a bit like, well, I don't love my job. If I have to find another job, it's not like I'm letting go of a job that I absolutely love
Right.
and it's a missed opportunity. It was
Yeah.
like I can always find a mid job that just pays the bill and doesn't particularly give me anything.
yeah.
So it made things very easy for me to just like quit it and just go full on
So
with our
what?
office.
Remind me, what year was this?
2017,
The project started in like 2017.
but it ended in 2018.
Okay.
And I quit in 2018.
Right, and I say this because like at this point you're already well past the previous recession.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID, so
Yeah.
this is a period of time when things are relatively booming. And
Hmm.
if you're unfamiliar with Toronto, I mean, just the very basics of this is that Toronto has always been a very, very highly constructive city.
Mhm.
It goes through waves, but at the time that you're referencing, even prior to that, like we had more construction cranes in Toronto
Yeah.
at one stage than any other city in the world next to Dubai. So just to give you a sense of that, like that's how much was happening in the city for a long time. As you've heard Michael and Arancha talk about hospitality projects and guest experience, I'm reminded how critical the exterior spaces are, especially the pool. At Aquanta Pools, they use biodesign technology from Italy to make the pools that aren't just boxes of water, but immersive landscape features. Take, for example, the infinity pool at Monastera Santa Rosa on the Amalfi Coast. Sculpted into the cliff face, appearing to disappear into the Mediterranean, where guests experience water, sky, and sea all in one frame. Or consider the pool at Choisy-le-Bain in Mauritius, described as a fusion of natural elegance and contemporary luxury. That's what biodesign brings, and Aquanta delivers. Custom shapes, beach entry zones, sweeping curves. Built to integrate with terrain rather than impose upon it. In Toronto or any of the surrounding areas, whether you're doing a hotel, resort, or high-end residential build, Aquanta can let you build something that both fits and elevates the site. So if you're working in hospitality or in residential and you want a distinctive residential pool, something really special where the water feature is integral to the architecture, send me an email and I'll connect you with the Aquanta team. But for now, let's get back to the remainder of the conversation with the talented Odami team.
That was why we moved here. We knew
Right.
how busy it was, and
Right, and
I remember that specific stat. Yeah, the cranes.
When I was
Yeah.
because
I
when I
didn't
was
know that.
when I was in university, I wrote one of my short thesis was on Dubai and the boom in Dubai at the time in the early 2000s was like it was blowing everything out of the water. What they were sinking into, like their opportunities for tourism, and I was like, how does that relate to what we have here? And you could look at the stats, and when you looked outside, like there was a crane in like every corner.
Mhm.
Anyhow, I digress. But your first opportunity is unlike most. Your first opportunity is a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people are getting like, you know, a bathroom or, you know, a basement reno for like an ant.
Yeah.
Like you had an unknown client as your first opportunity as
Yeah.
a project, which is wild.
Yeah, it was crazy, which I think was why it like
Why we took
why
it.
we took it.
Yeah.
And why like even if it wasn't something that was on our radar,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
like not at that moment, then I mean, you know, like at this point, I was only like a year and a bit out of graduating. Like
Right.
we were like pretty, you know, super intimidated by it, but it was just like we have to find a way to make this work because when are we going to get an opportunity like this ever again? So yeah, I mean, we were pretty lucky.
It's amazing. So you complete this amazing first project, the restaurant, and like, did you get to celebrate that? Were you there for the opening?
I don't think we were. They had like a friends and family night.
Okay.
I mean, we were there on site like
All the time.
every day, basically for like the better part of a year. It was like a really complex build, and I mean, they had started demo before we even came onto the project, so it was like this kind of thing where like
Yeah, it's
we were drawing
design build, but like at the same time.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, it was a great opportunity, but the process was far from
super
ideal.
traditional.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so we were like, we need to not be here. I mean, we were super proud of it. It was very exciting, but like
Yes.
Yeah, but I
We
think it
needed
took
to-
us 2 months, not to
Yeah.
go, because they kept inviting us come for dinner. Like we had a good relation with the client, and I think it took like 2 months after they opened for us to actually go and be able to enjoy it, because it had been so intense
Yes.
that it was almost like we needed a buffer of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
let it to be able to go enjoy it, and like, and I think it was 2 months
Yeah.
actually that it took us to go there to have dinner and actually enjoy ourselves. Like,
So how did you then determine that you were ready and formalize the practice? How long after the completion of that project?
I mean, we formalized it like as we were going through it
Okay.
because we sort of, I mean, I think we recognized the opportunity of the project,
Yeah.
and I think we sort of realized. I mean, we had to get samples sent over. Like, I mean, we kind of had to formalize. Like, we had to look like
Yeah.
somewhat legit.
We had to fake it
Yeah.
until we had it, like everyone. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from that standpoint, like, yes, definitely. And so, yeah, we kind of went through it.
we actually didn't really even know what we were doing. Again, like
Of
no.
course.
So then somebody was like, "Oh, you should incorporate." So we just went and we incorporated the business, and we didn't really know. Then we found out that you could be a sole proprietorship, like that. There were other options, less drastic, but we just went full on and we incorporated. And
So what does Odami mean?
Nothing.
nothing.
Purposely.
Yeah. So when we started, like, it's funny because, we have 2 people helping us part time,
Yeah.
but we don't have like full time employees
Yeah.
yet. And we both worked in firms that had the name of the owner.
Yeah.
And we always felt like it was not cool when you have a big team of people and you name the company after yourself. So that then it's like your name, and it's almost like we always felt that it was a bit like dismissive to the employees to just have your name there. So we wanted always that to name the business after something that had nothing to do with our names or without us, as in like we are a team. There's some values, but whoever's here is part of the team and we're all
Right.
one. So we knew that, but then we were a bit like, how do we call it? And we were writing ideas and they all seemed super tacky. Like, oh my God, no, this is corny. This is like not going to work.
Yeah,
And
we didn't want it to like mean something, you know. I think because meanings kind of change over time, or you may grow like disassociated
Yeah.
with it. We just wanted it. We designed it purely aesthetically.
so it was like, let's look at words, letters that we think look good, and like put them, like almost forget that they're letters and forget what we understand, and like just to do the word and see if we like the design of the word, how it looks with the letters. And basically we started doing that, and we came with like a few different options. It was like, now can we pronounce this? Like, and we started like playing around with it, and then we landed on Odami, and we were like, okay, sounds good. Let's just go ahead with that. And that's how.
I like it. So everybody can, anybody else can come up with their own interpretation of what it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still easy to say.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Well, and that concept of succession planning, you know, I know that the practice is really young. I don't discredit that, but the idea that you could potentially at some stage, when you want to hand it over to someone else, it's a really easy succession plan.
Yeah.
It's not tied to your name.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never thought about that, but thank you.
Because there are a lot of, I talk to a lot of practices, and a lot of them, there's even consultants that exist about succession planning.
Hmm.
And how do you now look at changing what is a really potentially well-established name
Yeah.
Right.
and making it something that someone else could take over. What do you
Yeah.
do?
No.
Yeah, definitely haven't thought about that.
Yeah,
but
Well,
that's
there you
good
go.
to
if
know.
survived that long,
The good
then
news,
yeah.
the good news is you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Unintentionally and intentionally.
Yeah, totally.
Unintentionally and again intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay, so practice is formalized in 2017, 18.
18.
Okay,
Yeah.
and subsequently, what do projects look like afterwards? Are you finding that you have to go out there and grind and find sales, or are you finding that you're starting to get some stuff that comes inbound? What does that look like for you?
It was crickets for months.
It was crickets for months, and I think that we've learned because again, we never had anybody in our families that had run a similar business. So we were a bit crickets for a long time because we've never done like outreach to
Right.
potential clients.
Right.
And then over time, we've had the pleasure of meeting professionals in the industry, and they were like, no, you have to do outreach. You have to do that. But as it says today, we've never done it, which implies that there's been times that it's been really slow. And then there's been time, fortunately, it worked out where we have worked consistently. But like outreach is something that is still something that we need to start doing, which we are in the bad habit of not doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I don't think you're alone. I mean, I've said this. When I speak about this with so many different people. Like most people, I find are relatively like insular.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Big
Right?
time.
They want the work to speak for what
Yeah.
they can drive out of their client, but most people aren't interested in the social element quite as much, or the putting themselves out there as much. And that could be also because of like when you think about what you've done, like you have to move away from your family, you have to deal with levels of rejection when you were there, you have to deal with levels of rejection when you're going through what you're going through. And so you get to a stage where you finally are there and you're like, I don't know if I want to deal with rejection at this point. Now I'm here and I've like done it. Like there's almost like that background noise that says, no, let's just do what's in front. Let's focus on this
Yeah.
and do really good work. And the other stuff will come.
And it's
Yeah.
also a lot of work to do outreach, like to do a
Yeah.
targeted outreach is a lot of work. So when you don't have work, like maybe you have the time to do that properly, but when you are working, it's like also if we're going to do outreach, we want to do it properly, and it takes a lot of time that you don't have. So
Right.
it's like the circle
Yeah.
keeps
And,
coming.
and you're both also now teaching, right?
Arancha is
Arancha's teaching.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
Okay.
not anymore.
You're not.
Just
It's too
we
much.
needed one of us to be like full time.
Yeah.
With the practice.
I think it also speaks a lot to how different we are.
Oh, yeah.
Like Michael's like
Oh,
very
you're
laser.
different?
Yeah. No.
Not at all.
No, but Michael's like the kind of person that enjoys being uninterrupted, focused on one task. He's really good for that, like this laser focus, concentration. And for me, it's like I'm really good multitasking and doing different things. Like I feel like I cannot sit still for a very, very long time. I need to shift. So we both started teaching. It provides like a financial stability. And for me, for example, it's helped me a lot to speak in public, which was like a big problem that I had. So it's like
and speak with clients.
and speak with
Also,
clients to
yes.
articulate
Yeah.
ideas and to try to be more intentional in the way you speak and how you tackle things. It can be good in many aspects, but at some point it was a bit like we cannot both be doing it. And Michael was like, he loves teaching, but he was always like, so this disruption of I have to leave to go to teach, it was like it took his day down. It was like now I'm coming back, and it was like a problem. So it was a bit like it's good for me. I'm a social person. I go out, I speak
Right.
to students. So it was a bit we diverged and was like you'll be full time in the office. And I mean, not that I teach a lot, but like I teach a little bit, and we just divided it like that. And I think it's working out because we
Yeah. And I mean, it helped us so much survive some of the
crickets.
periods where,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if you go through your first downturn, you realize how much effort you need to put into actually selling, but promoting your company during the course of the uptick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To make sure you've got the stability during the downturn.
Yeah.
That you're not in a constant roller coaster.
Yeah.
That you're trying as much as you can to keep things
It's
steady.
It's like it's literally that's the hardest part of business.
Yeah.
Is driving it forward when it's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
So you've reached a point now where the practice is 7 years old,
Yeah.
or you're about to celebrate. Are you celebrating your seventh birthday? And when you think about what that means, it means that you've probably been able to have a number of projects. How many projects would you typically manage at one time right now, or what's been the high?
The high was, well, we're probably in it now, and we're in it at sort of like at the beginning of last year, where we had like four projects in like in the same phase, like going through design all the way through to construction sort of at the same time.
Okay.
Plus projects that were being under construction.
Which is, what do you think?
Like
two, three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the project, so your project size is anywhere from, call it 5 to 10 that you're involved with at one time.
Yeah, about that.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a manageable size. It's at times, I'm sure, can be very daunting, especially when you talk about having 4 at the same time going through design development. Like, my God, that's...
Yeah, and if they're like accelerated timelines, which like pretty much all
having spoken
commercial...
to you, it seems that that's the...
Yeah.
Your eyes... His eyes just went like wide-eyed. I saw all the white.
Terror. Yeah. Knowing commercial projects are like super fast moving. So
yeah, well, because for every single moment that they're not open, they're paying for it.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's look, in a residential project, it's the same kind of thing, but the residential project is never going to turn into a source of income unless it's a rental.
Yeah.
But in which case, you're probably not going to hire a really great architecture team.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel? And I'm curious because I'm going to go to a question that you brought up from before. What do you feel you have yet to want to achieve that you have not yet achieved? Because you're still relatively young, but you've done commercial work, you've done residential work. Are you looking at multifamily as well, or have you done multifamily?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
No.
What's on the list? What's the target?
Well, we'll be working on multifamily, not built, but we're working on it. The sort of the next iteration of Impossible Toronto. Okay. We're working on that with Studio U.
Yeah.
So that'll be a really exciting one, even if it's not eventually going to get built. But still working on that.
It's a great initiative.
Yeah. It is. It's an amazing initiative. I think it's really nice to see like architects sort of recognizing the potential that actually have agency, rather than just sort of like conforming to the pretty crazy constraints that we have here.
Right.
So I think it's, hopefully it'll bring about change in the long run.
I would actually add to that if you're listening to this, check the show's liner notes. I'll put put a link in for the Impossible Toronto. It's worth checking out. Sorry.
No worries. I mean, I think like the one thing that we've been really wanting is like a new build, where we can sort of build the whole building inside out, top to bottom, and like really do maybe a bit more spatially. I mean, we've been, with interiors, you're always sort of limited to the sort of the box that you have.
Yep.
And even with renovations, there can tend to be a ton of...
There's a constraint there because it's an existing building, so there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
So I think that, and fortunately, we actually just started working on one, so we're really, really quite excited about that. But that's been
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Very, and this has been the one thing that I think we've been wanting sort of since we started. So it's been a while to get here, but but I mean, really thankful.
I mean, so I'll say it because I just saw it in your smile when you realize that you're getting there, and you look at each other. But the validation of the work that you put in over the course of time, one of the other joys of doing this podcast is to be able to provide some level of like legacy to what people do. And I think that you're really early into what your legacy is going to be defined as. But the simple fact that that you're both in this, having only just recently, like today, met you at Arancha. Michael, like barely knowing you, but where your trajectory is going to go based on the influence that you have had with people in your work. I think there's some pretty great stuff ahead of you, and I think that if you're talking about only now just getting your first new build, like I can't imagine how many you're going to have in a couple of years from now. So
thank you. That's very nice.
I think honestly, I thank you for being a part of this. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having
Thanks for having us. Yeah. So we were very excited. Like we've seen the podcast and like we've known the podcast for a while and when Michael mentioned like, I was like so happy.
And nervous. But
and nervous too.
But the nerves left, right?
No, they left my body. Yeah. Okay.
It's like all you're gonna do is talk about yourself. Like that, yourself. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah. No. It's very nice.
Well, honestly, and what again, I love this because what I really am trying to do with all of this is to humanize the work. and it's a hard thing to try to get people to come around to, because there's competition, because it can be such a competitive field in general. But when you can humanize it, you get to experience it in a different way and start to appreciate some things that maybe you have been too busy to be able to appreciate.
Yeah.
It's a very human industry. It should be, right? Like we're building spaces for people, and I think you have to humanize it. So it's so nice that you are taking that kind of initiative. And, yeah, super happy to be part of it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.